Welcome to RAGT 24, and I am going to interview the absolutely amazing, so much fun. What other accolades can I throw?
You forgot my name, right?
No, Jill Shalvis. No, I know you're one of the few people's names who I can remember because I forget everybody's names when we get here.
It's so hard.
Do you get that conference blank brain where you can't think?
I live with that conference brain. I feel like I have a hard time recognizing faces and putting the names to the face.
And I'm just terrible at it. So. And I get here and I immediately panic when someone says hi. I do my hi because I don't know who the heck they are. You know?
It's sad because I love them.
Yeah, we love you. Yeah, it's just because we got so much on our minds, and you and I are both introverts, right? And so this is like throwing us in a blender. So that's one of your questions, by the way.
Is it?
And I see you wrote a ha on there. Oh. So I got questions from readers.
Okay.
And then because I like you so much, I gave you a chance to see if there were any you didn't want to answer. And she wrote ha on one, so we're going to start with that. It said, if you knew that tomorrow you'd suddenly become an extrovert, what would be the one thing you'd love about that or would want to do first?
I just dropped my microphone.
She would want to not drop her microphone.
I laughed because I'm never going to be an extrovert.
But
this is hard. If I was an extrovert, I would want to be a rock star.
Yeah, would you?
I really would.
Do you like rock music?
I love music.
Yeah.
I can't sing. That's why it's so funny to me. I can't carry a tune.
But does it stop you from singing?
And I would die if I had to stand on stage. I just want to be a rock star. I can't explain it.
Do you sing around?
No, I sing. Oh, I sing really loud, but people tell me to please stop singing.
That's it. I sing, but I know I don't sound good. But if it's a song I like, I sing it anyway.
But now I want to ask you that question. If you were going to be an extrovert.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't say rock star. I don't know. Politician maybe, and I'd fix this messed up world. Not really. Shoot me if I ever try that. Yeah. So who are do you like rock music?
You know, it could be a pop star. I don't care. I just want to be able to sing.
You're up there hitting a guitar and
I don't necessarily want to be a pop or a rock star. I want to have a voice. I want to have a good singing voice, and I don't.
And then you would serenade us.
I would serenade everybody.
If we could convince her to get drunk, maybe we could talk you into doing that here, and then you could live your dream.
You're probably not even with alcohol. Could you convince me to really do it?
Yeah.
This is a fantasy, right?
But are you like me though? Like if you're on a stage at a writers' conference talking about what you feel like you know enough about, you're comfortable. So it's just the singing part that would.
Being on stage is hard. Like I had to psych myself up to come here, but now that I'm just talking, it's just you and me talking. That's easy. Yeah. And I can put it on for any short amount of time. Not any amount of time.
And then collapse later.
And then I'll need a nap.
Yeah. It's hard to explain to people. Like you go to these things and you're trying to be nice and we are nice, but you're trying to make sure you don't give an impression of not being nice. And so you kind of are wearing your author face. And then when you're done, your face just feels like it's going to crack because I walk around the house frowning and thinking, not
Well, here's the thing. Our head is always in a book.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm always thinking.
And plotting.
And plotting, especially if I'm alone walking down a hallway. And then I'll realize maybe 10 people have gone by, and what if they wanted to smile at me and I had my head down and I was thinking about my book?
10 people go by you in your own hallway?
No,
you mean here? God, I was thinking at home. I was thinking, good Lord, no wonder I'd be stressed
I do have 10 people in my family, and that does happen. They're like, oh, it's just her again. She's just in a book. But here, I forget to look up sometimes.
Yeah, me too. And sometimes because you've got to go from A to B, and if you look up, then you're not going to make it from A to B.
And it can be hard to get from A to B.
You're like me. You have big family gatherings, right? Now, I always get accused of not listening.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I'm trying to listen.
You're trying.
Yeah, I'll be like, what was it again? Or I totally mess it up.
See, my theory is we don't retain stuff because our brain is full.
Yeah, so I say I can retain character names and who I'm working on right now, but don't ask me about a book from 10 years ago.
Sometimes I'm writing a scene. I'm like, what is her name again? I do that.
I usually remember names, but secondary characters or traits, like I'll say, what kind of car did I have her driving? Because a copy editor will catch it. But I try to clean up as much of my books as I can before I send it in. Do you or do you?
Because I would rather clean it up and catch all my mistakes
yourself.
So that they don't have to, because, you want to put out a good product. And what if they miss them? So I try to catch them first.
Yeah. Do you catch most of it?
I catch a lot, and I don't catch them all, because sometimes I can't see my own mistake.
Because you know what it's supposed to say.
Yeah. And it just reads right to me. Or I'll have a timeline issue. That happens a lot, where I'm not keeping track of how many days go by. And I'll just say, a week later, but, maybe it's 3 weeks later, maybe it's 3 days later. And that's what a copy editor, thankfully, is for.
Yeah, I'll do that where all of a sudden they're madly in love and it's been 2 days.
Yeah, that's easy.
I just had a lot happen in those 2 days, so I got to fix that. But yeah, I know what you mean. The timelines are tricky sometimes because you get immersed in a scene, right? Yeah. And you're not thinking about.
And I have a hard time making time go by.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they'll be madly in love. It's 2 days. So. Yeah.
Yeah, I just did that. And then I had to go back in and figure out how to spread it out a little bit.
But I remember reading one of yours. I don't remember the title, but they were painting and he put a paint handprint on her butt. Do you remember that?
I do remember that one because that's actually a reader favorite. It's Head Over Heels.
Okay.
And they were painting and they got drunk.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And they wake up the next morning and they're covered in handprints.
That was so fun. But I kept thinking, dang, how does she do this so well? Because you did have a lot of time, an appropriate amount of time pass. And I thought, I have to see how she's doing this so I can try to remember to fix mine.
That was probably an accident.
Yes. You're a very polished, talented author.
Oh, thank you.
So how important are book reviews to you?
I don't read them.
At all, ever?
It can paralyze me, good or bad. I mean, I'm very lucky. I get a lot of really great reviews and I'll look at the number and I'll look at the number of stars, but I don't like to read them. That said, though, reviews are so important to us because now it changes the algorithm in Amazon. So I always try to encourage readers, please leave reviews. Just don't send them to me personally.
Just don't tell me personally.
Just send them.
Have you ever had, because this has happened to me, and I'm never going to talk bad about readers, but it's an odd thing that I don't think they understand how we look at it. Where someone will not like something about your book and they want to tell you what they didn't like.
Oh, yeah, I've had that too.
And it's like, it's published, it's out there. I can't fix it, so I didn't really need to know.
I kind of look at it as like, this is a product that I put out and not everyone's going to like it. It's not going to be for everyone. What bothers me sometimes is someone will say, I didn't like your book because it cost me this much money.
Yeah.
And that I have no control over. And if you didn't like my story, that's fine. Maybe try someone else next time. I mean, I do
That's
understand
exactly
that.
what I say to readers. I say, I'm sorry it disappointed you. I hope the next author you read is more to your liking.
Yeah.
But I think when they tell us that, it's because they got so invested in the story. They cared, and they have to let you know what they didn't care about in the story.
And I understand that. I talk about
too.
movies. I talk about things that I don't like in something. So I get it.
Yeah.
It's hard to not take some of it personally, so I just tend to not read them.
Well, when you said they paralyze you, I wondered, because I guess because I've been at it so long, I'm kind of just like, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's still, I know some authors that are very sensitive about seeing good and bad reviews.
I don't like to be precious, so I try really hard not to be precious.
You are, but she's precious anyway. What was the strangest research you've ever had to do for a book?
Oh, boy. We write contemporary. So for me, there's not a zombie apocalypse. There's not, a historical time period. So there's not a whole bunch of research, but I do like to go to the place that I'm writing about. I just happen to be writing about Lake Tahoe and I live there. So it's been easy for the last couple of books.
Yeah.
The strangest thing I've ever done for research is probably when I was writing the animal series. So I wrote a series, Animal Magnetism. It was in the mountains of Idaho, and it was about an animal hospital and the veterinarians. So hot guys and cute animals, thought no brainer. Yeah. But it took a lot of research to make the vets real. And so some of that, I put it out on Facebook, like, I'm going to be writing about veterinarians. If you're a veterinarian or if you've worked at a veterinarian hospital, please email me with your funny stories because I wanted it to be funny. And some of those stories are not funny.
No, they break your heart.
I heard some horrible things. So that was probably, something I would not do again.
Yeah. I often ask readers for help like that too, and usually get great help.
Yeah, but once in a while.
You'll do something simple. Like I had goats in a book I just wrote, and I thought, I don't know anything about goats. How can I write about goats when I don't know anything about goats?
So did you research?
Well, I asked readers who have goats, that answered questions, and I researched some stuff, but we were just talking about AI before. It tries to give you all this information, but I don't always trust what it's telling me, so it'll say like they don't like rain. And then a reader will say, mine will run out and play in the rain. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's true,
I think there's so much.
And I wasn't going to get goats to find out because they would all be in the house on the couch with me. And, Alan wouldn't like that.
I've always wanted a goat though.
I know, me too. We had
just a baby one.
We had a neighbor that had goats and she said they have tore our cars up. You can't keep them fenced because they'll climb a fence and they'll climb a tree and they'll get on a car and dent it all up. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I better not get a goat.
Well, we have a lot of land, so I've always wanted to have.
But you also have bears.
I know.
They would eat your goats.
It would be very complicated. And then where would they go in the wintertime? They'd have to come in the house.
On the couch with you, yeah. See, that's me. I always wanted chickens, but we have vultures and eagles and stuff that are forever circling our property, stealing fish out of my pond. And I'm like, it would crush me to go out and know that one of my chickens had been basically eagle beat. You know,
we can't have chickens either. Bears would come.
Yeah, for that same reason.
Bears like chickens.
Jill, have you given any more thought to the idea of writing a book about your hall pass?
Oh, I have a hall pass. I mean, I know who my hall passes would be. They're all fictional men, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So they're not going to really
I think you have to explain to all of us what your hall pass is, because this reader knows, but I don't know.
Okay. Oh, you don't know? Okay. So a hall pass is, me and my husband, we have a deal. Like if these 5 people came knocking for him at my door, he could go and do whatever he wanted with these people. So his is Shania
You're just going to assume they're never going to show up.
Right. Well, is Shania Twain going to come to my door and ask for my husband? I don't think
I would crack up if she did.
And so his are all like singers or actresses, and mine are all fictional men.
Yeah.
So
that you aren't going to come knocking either.
He's in no danger of losing me to
who are your fictional men you're hoping will come knocking?
Well, lately I just started reading Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorns and Roses, and it's a fantasy series. It's real fantasy. And so I would open the door for Rhysand for sure. And then maybe Rourke from the J.D. Robb series for sure. And Ranger from the Stephanie Plum books.
Yeah.
So those 3 for
all well-known ones. Yeah.
But they're well known for a reason.
Yeah. I would just say I'm too tired to open the door for anybody. So I'd tell Alan, go answer that door and tell whoever it is to go away. Do you write on more than one storyline at a time? And if so, how do you keep them sorted?
I try so hard to never do that. And yet right now in this very moment, I'm in that situation where I'm kind of in 2 different books, and it's really hard, and my head hurts, and I'm tired.
Yeah,
so I don't recommend it.
So is it 2 that you're writing, or like one that you're writing and one you're working on that's already written, or?
No, I'm writing 2 books.
Man, I can't imagine.
Yeah, and I don't recommend it.
Yeah,
I started one and loved it, but it's different. So different that I scared myself. So then I went back to what I normally do, and then that idea just kept calling me. So I found myself going back and forth, and it's not a good thing. And it's taking me longer than it should, because I have to stop and get into the head mindset of those characters. It's not easy. I won't ever do it again.
No, but you think you'll finish both of them now?
Yes, I for sure will.
Awesome. So now I'm really interested. Can't wait to figure out what they are here. How do you get the inspiration to write different stories for your books?
Inspiration comes from everything. I watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of movies. I read all the pop culture. I'm a pop culture hoe. I read, Entertainment Weekly, People, Us.
Do you really?
I do. And I get so many story ideas. And this goes back to, we were talking in the other interview. I'll read this magazine, see something that sparks an idea, and I pull out the page and I put it down and I circle it. And then, I'm somewhere else in the house and an idea will come and I'll write it down on a napkin. And then my daughter comes along and gathers up all these little things. And it used to be she'd try to throw them away. And I'm like, don't throw them away.
Put them in mom's file.
Yeah. So it just ideas come from everywhere. How about you? Same?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. You just, I will be writing a book and get an idea for something else, but I don't stop to write it. I'll just write myself a note, I got a question for you that isn't actually on here. Do you ever, because I know you're a plotter, right? Do you ever come up with a plot and along the way it changes on you? Like in my head, I'll think I know what it's going to be, and then it's never that when I start writing it.
Almost every time.
Yeah.
It's funny because I do the same as you. I'll be in a book and the next idea will come to me. And I write it down, then I go back to it. And, I write a lot. I plot with Rayanne Thane, who's here today. And sometimes we talk about it and I think I know exactly what it is. And then when I start writing it, I realize, it's not exactly that anymore.
Yeah.
And so it always comes out different.
I'll end up making mine. I don't think anybody else cries through my books the way that I'll cry when I'm writing them. Do you cry when you're writing your books?
No, but I laugh.
I'll laugh some too, but you get older, you get more emotional about stuff. And I was so flipping tired. And there was something we were supposed to be doing, and I didn't feel like doing it. I won't say what it is in case the person ever sees this, but I was like, I don't want to do that. I would rather just go take a shower and put on my PJs and crash on the couch. And Alan said, you just need to finish that book and rest up. And I said, well, I'm to the part. And I never want to tell anybody what my books are about because I'm terrible at telling what my books are about. And I said, this person's got this going on. I tell this sad story. And this person, and I said, and then there's a secondary character named Nell. And I start crying, and Alan goes, not Nell. And I'm like, yes, Nell too. And I'm like, he said, you need a break, girl. I said, I know I do. And I ended up doing the thing we had to do, and it was fine. But,
So your tears were because you had to get dressed up and go somewhere.
It was poor Nell. I felt so bad. Part of it was because I didn't want to have to go anywhere. But yeah, I felt so bad. I feel so bad for my characters. And when I try to tell people what they're going through, and I swear my books are not tear jerkers. It's just when I'm writing it,
I'm always surprised when readers say, I laughed and cried all the way through this. But where did you cry? I want to know.
God, I would say you didn't cry there. I had an editor once who said, you almost made me cry. And I'm thinking, what? I sobbed writing that.
How dare
you must
you
be
not
more hard-hearted than me. I don't know. I was like, that's part of getting old too. I guess I'm too weepy. Do you prefer to write about small towns or large cities?
Well, I've done both. I much prefer small town. And when I've written in a big city, I found a way to make it feel small town. So I did Heartbreaker Bay, which is set in San Francisco, a very large city, but I did it in a building that was a character in itself. And so inside that building, I was able to create a small town.
Nice.
That's just my comfort zone, a small town.
Right. Because then everybody knows everybody and it's more intimate. And,
definitely. How about you?
I don't know anything about cities. I mean, I go to a city and I'm like, I'm in a city. I don't want to be here. I remember the first time I had to be in New York, and I was so proud of myself when I managed to hail a cab. I mean, that was like a huge thing for me. I had never hailed a cab in my life. I wouldn't want to do it again, but everybody was staying and I wanted to leave. And so I thought, do this, go out there. Boy, you talk about feeling like a grown up. I went out and I'm like,
your love of going to bed was more important than
it was.
Cab.
It was. So to get my shoes off and, But so, are you okay at hailing cabs? Because I suck at it.
And the only time I've ever had to do it was in New York, probably at some publisher event. And, I love New York, but I love to go home.
Yeah, I love to see it. If I could transport there and then transport back, I'd love to go see it again. I don't want to fly. I don't want to drive. I had an author tell me that she probably won't come next year because it's just so much travel for her. And I said, I wouldn't travel to see me. I wouldn't.
But you know what's great about this event? Everyone travels to see you. We all travel.
They come to see everybody. It's not me, but they come to see part of this event.
From so far, and they all fly it. To me, it's just a miracle. I'm like constantly thanking people because, I was in the elevator with someone from Seattle and I came from Tahoe. Like everyone traveled here.
It was really nice.
Cool.
I really appreciate people that travel to be here because, like I said, I wouldn't. So people will say, have you ever thought about moving the event around? And I'm like, no, not at all. I've got like a 40-minute drive, but we can go home each night and sleep in our own bed.
And this is a huge feat you pull off.
It is.
Every year.
I know, and I'm old. I'm going to keep saying that a million times. Have you considered writing any other genres?
Well, that's part of why
Because it sounds like you are, right?
I am. So that's part of why I'm stuck because, I can't even talk about it. It's so hard to talk about the book that you're writing. Yeah. It really is. But
can you tell us what genre? Or do you don't want to do that either?
I'm sort of accidentally writing an accidental Guardian Angel series.
Wow.
And writing a sexy contemporary series of brothers. Yeah. So it hurts my brain. Yeah. That's about all I can say.
Jill, split down the middle there.
If you want to see me cry, keep asking me and I'll have to tell you.
I want you to cry like I cried, Jill. I'll tell you all about Nil. How long does it generally take you to write a book?
Way too long.
You said you get 2 a year done,
I am a master of procrastination. And I have 2 adorable little grandbabies that live with us. And, And so it's just life is so... I really envy people who can sit down and write for 8 hours. And I get it in bits and pieces. And sometimes it's hard to add up to the right amount of time. So at this point, I'm writing 2 a year. I would like to kick that up.
So because you don't have an office space you go to, right? You like to go
I'm outside a lot or right in the center.
You said you can't focus if you're trying to sit at a desk.
I don't do well at a desk. I don't even have a desk.
Yeah.
I write outside. Do you never write outside?
No, I can write in other places when I have to, if I'm on a deadline, which I finished a deadline the day before we came to this event.
So jealous.
No, it's just poor Nell. No, but but yeah, I prefer to be at my desk, but total opposite of you because I know you like to get out and have different scenery. And I know Tony Blake sits outside and writes, and I'm like, I would just be so. The other day I looked up out the window because I saw movement, and there were so many squirrels and birds that I started recording it. And as I was recording it, a deer ran by, and I'm like, now damn it, now I got to go take a walk. Because there's things out there,
There's things to see.
And you see bears and
all
everything.
the time. In fact, I was sitting on the grass, and then there's a little cliff, and then land, and then another cliff, and then the river. And so the bears and the deer come right past our house every day to go get water and then go back to their caves. And I was sitting on the grass in a low beach chair at the edge of the cliff. So if you're coming up the cliff, you can't see that I'm there.
Yeah.
And I had my dog. She was just laying down beside me, and I'm riding, and I'm in it.
Yeah.
And I look up, and there's movement. And I think, oh, another dog came by to visit her. And I look over, and it's 2 bear cubs playing with my dog.
Oh.
And that was terrifying, because the only time I'm ever in danger is if there's a mama bear and she's protecting her baby. So I had to grab my dog, and we went running into the house because...
You didn't see the mama though
No,
yet? The baby's got ahead of her?
I guarantee she was
Oh yeah, she wasn't
close,
far away.
right.
Yeah. Oh, that would be scary. I worry about you with the bears, although I know...
They're so mild. They're not grizzlies. Yeah. And we have more trouble with mountain cats now than we do with bears.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are scary.
Do you hear them screaming sometimes?
We do hear them screaming, and I've come across them twice. I've lived there for 20 years, and I've only been face to face with them twice, and you don't want to do that.
What do they do when they
Well, they're not afraid. A bear will turn around and walk away. If you see a mountain cat, I'm the one that's going as fast as I can.
Do you keep looking behind you?
Yeah.
You call your husband and tell him?
I mean, one was right in our front yard, and I was able to get the door really fast. Yeah. And the other time I was snowshoeing, and it was winter, and I was coming up a hill, and there's trees on both sides of the trail, and there was only one sunspot, and the cat was up in the tree with her paws hanging out over the branch, and she was just snoozing. And she was so lazy and so warm in that little sunspot, she didn't come down.
She didn't care.
Yeah.
She's not worth the effort to get out of my sunspot.
Not worth the effort.
I mean, what would you do with it? Because I know you got like bear spray for bears, but what do you do for those things?
I don't know what I would have done if it hadn't been winter. And I was on snowshoes. I could not have gone away. But she had no interest in me at all. I was wrapped up, and she was like, that's too much trouble.
Yeah. I don't want to unwrap all that. Yeah. Was your dog with you? And how did your dog react?
Oh, she is so funny. She will stand right in front of me and not let me go forward as soon as she realizes there's something there.
That's so protective.
Yeah, she's very sweet.
That's awesome. You have good animals. How many years have you been a published author?
Oh my God, that's math.
I know. I published in 96.
I published in 98. Was it 98, Rayan? Is it 98? Is it 97? 97.
97. Aren't you glad you get... That's what you call an author friend to get an answer. Yeah.
So we're old.
Yeah, I know. We're going to say that a million times now. Can you imagine when we're 80?
Oh my God.
We'll be sitting over here, we're so old.
Someone's going to
probably still writing
for it. Yeah, maybe.
Although maybe you will refuse to travel at that point, you know.
Maybe.
Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I hope we always have you over whenever you can stand to travel.
Thank you.
All right.